Practice speaking with me by listening carefully and shadowing to improve your fluency and confidence. Tonight's story is gentle and continuous. Just listen, follow the rhythm, and let the words carry you. Emma discovered the letter by accident, tucked quietly inside a drawer she rarely opened. The drawer belonged to an old desk she had carried with her through several moves, even though it no longer matched the rest of her furniture. It was heavy, slightly scratched, and far from perfect. Yet she had never considered replacing it. Some things, she believed, earned the right to stay simply because they had stayed long enough. The envelope was plain and slightly yellowed, its edges softened by time. There was no address written on it, no stamp, and no sign that it had ever been meant to travel anywhere. Emma picked it up carefully, as if sudden movement might disturb whatever memories it contained. She sat down by the window, the familiar glow of the lamp filling the room, and turned the envelope over in her hands. For a moment, she considered putting it back where she had found it. Some memories felt safer when left untouched, but curiosity, quiet and patient, eventually guided her fingers to open it. Inside was a single sheet of paper, folded neatly, the handwriting unmistakably hers. She recognized it immediately, not because she remembered writing the letter clearly, but because the words carried a version of herself she no longer met very often. She began to read. The sentences were careful and sincere, written with an honesty that surprised her. There was no attempt to sound confident or wise. Instead, the letter spoke gently, as if it were unsure whether it deserved to be read at all. She noticed how the words moved slowly, taking their time, as though the writer had been afraid of saying too much. Emma leaned back slightly, letting the meaning of the sentences settle. She remembered the night she had written it, though only in fragments. She had been younger then, uncertain in ways she no longer was, yet hopeful in ways she sometimes missed. The letter had been written late, after a long day filled with conversations that never quite reached the truth. It was addressed to someone she had once known well, someone whose presence had shaped her thoughts more deeply than she had admitted at the time. Reading the letter now, she realized how much had been left unsaid, not because she lacked words, but because she had lacked courage. At night, emotions had always felt closer to the surface. Without the distractions of the day, feelings grew clearer, more difficult to ignore. That night, she had sat at this same desk, under a similar light, believing that writing the letter would somehow bring relief. But relief had not come. Instead, the letter had remained, folded carefully and hidden away, waiting quietly for a moment that never arrived. Emma paused and looked out the window. The city outside was calm, its light scattered gently across the darkness. Time had passed since the letter was written, yet the night felt strangely familiar, as if it were offering her the same stillness once again. She returned her attention to the paper. The letter did not ask for anything. It did not demand a response or an explanation. It simply expressed what had been true at that moment, without knowing whether the truth would ever be shared. As she read the final lines, Emma felt neither regret nor sadness. Instead, there was a quiet acceptance. The letter had served its purpose, even without being sent. It had allowed her to understand herself more clearly, even if no one else ever read the words. She realized that some letters were never meant to reach another person. Some were written only to be understood by the one who wrote them. Their value did not depend on being delivered, but on being honest. Emma folded the paper slowly and placed it back into the envelope. She did not rush, and she did not feel the need to decide what to do with it next. For now, it was enough to acknowledge that the letter existed, that it had once mattered, and that it still carried a quiet truth. She returned the envelope to the drawer, leaving it slightly closer to the front this time, not hidden away completely. Some memories deserve to remain nearby, not to disturb the present, but to remind her of how far she had come. As she settled back into her chair, the room felt unchanged. Yet something within her had shifted gently. The night continued to hold its silence, offering space without judgment. Emma closed her eyes and breathed slowly, allowing the calm to settle around her once more. The letter was no longer a secret. It was simply part of her story, resting quietly, just like the city outside, just like the night itself. The story ends here. Let the quiet remain. There is nothing more you need to do. Good night.